I'm Lisa. Welcome to Lisa Does. Today we're going to make a 3-yard quilt using this pattern. So come and follow along with me. For this quilt I've chosen 3 fabrics. This teacup print will be my feature fabric. This green print will be the green and the blue will be the blue. Let's start by cutting our teacup fabric into 3 strips 9 1/4 inches wide. Now we'll subcut each of these strips into 4 9 1/4 inch squares. Now we have 12 9 1/4 inch squares for the centers of our blocks. Let's move on to the next fabric. For our next fabric, we want to cut 1 strip 10 inches wide. This will be for our blocks. And then we'll cut 5 strips 3 1/2 inches wide for our borders. These 5 strips are for our outer borders. We're going to cut this 10-inch strip into 12 3 3/8 inch strips. Now that we have these all pressed, we can cut these diagonally in half. And we want to cut this diagonal going uphill. From this corner to this corner, we're going uphill. I'm cutting 4 at a time. And we can just stack these very carefully. We have them all cut corner to corner. Next we'll cut another 10-inch strip from this fabric for our other 6 blocks. And we'll cut 5 1 1/2 inch strips for our inner border. And 5 2 1/2 inch strips for our binding. So here's our binding. Here's our inner border. And we'll cut this down into 12 3 3/8 inch wide strips. Once again, make sure all of your strips are right side up. And then cut these strips downhill from corner to corner. So now we have all the pieces cut for our blocks. Let's go to the machine and start sewing. Welcome to the machine. We have it set up for a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we have a 1/4 inch foot on there. What we want to do is grab one of our triangles and we're going to match up the square to the long edge of the triangle. It's going to stick out just a little bit so that where these two angles meet is a 1/4 inch away from the edge. Just like this. You'll have a tail hanging off the edge. And when you're done, it'll look like this. You do the other side going in the opposite direction. And then you press it open. Now we trim off the tails. And we add the other two. Once again, we're just putting this triangle here so that we have this sticking up a little bit past the seam. And going the other direction. And now we press these open. Now let's move on to the green blocks. These are sewn the same way, but the triangle will be on the top. You see it's just peeking over the edge there. And on to the last two. And this is what we've got once we have all 4 sides on. So we just take this and trim it down to 11.5 inches. And there we have it. So here we are with our blocks all done, and we just lay them out, 3 across, 4 down, alternating between green and blue. Now it's time to join them together. Here we are back at the machine. I have the first 2 columns of blocks, and I just lay column 2 over onto column 1. And sew. Brenda over at Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda calls this webbing. And if you don't know who Brenda is, you really should. I'll put a link to her channel in the show notes below. Now we take the second row and we join that together. And the third row. And the fourth row. Now we add our third column. We just pull our blocks down, open them up, and sew. And now that we have all of our rows joined together, all we need to do is sew the rows to one another. We can just flip it and turn it around. We don't have to worry about keeping it in order because they're all still joined from when we put them there. Nesting these seams. And we open it up, and our rows are joined together. So we just continue doing that until we have all of the rows joined. Here we are with the center of our quilt all put together. Now we need to do the inside borders. We'll take 3 of these strips, let's put them together end to end, and then we'll just slap and sew these guys on just like this. Now we can add the 2 remaining 1.5 inch strips to the top and bottom. Now we just repeat this process with our wider border strips. Here's the quilt as I originally designed it, but you know what? Instead of using this second set of blue strips as the binding, I think I'm going to add it on as a third border, and I'll choose some other binding later. Here's the finished quilt top with the surprise third border added. I really like the way it turned out. I think the blocks look nice and bouncy. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. Please like and subscribe for more quilting content. Thank you.